What's up, everybody? Welcome to your Thursday edition of the Daily Grind. I am your temporary co-host, Rusty Buck, is filling in for Luke Hatmaker today, who is out saving the world one person at a time. I got my guy Parrish Sharkey here this morning with me. What's up, Parrish? How's it going this morning?
What's good, man, bro? You know, it's so funny. Like, I gonna snitch on myself for the outer world not to see. Like, y'all don't know the technological issues we run into. So when you first started the video, my computer started messing up. Like, the video wouldn't play on my screen. So I'm like, dang, is the video not playing? I go to YouTube on the Twitter. I was like, oh, the video he was playing. So I'm like, all right. Then I back out to come back into the studio. My doggone webcam ain't working. I was like, what? What's going on? So I had to unplug and plug back in and got it working like right in time, probably 5 seconds before we actually got on air. So
yeah, I thought I was going in solo because Parrish left the studio, and I was like, well, we're gonna figure this out live on the air as we go. Must be something in the air. I've had several clinics this morning. Internet is down, so hopefully y'all's internet is working, and it worked last night so that you could watch the Memphis Grizzlies get a come from behind victory over the Toronto Raptors, 138-107. It has been it was an up and down game. It didn't start off great. We had zero
or a down and up game.
That's it. We had zero bench points in the first quarter. We had 9 first quarter turnovers. Parrish, I thought we're sleepwalking through this with the trade deadline, and we've got a trade that just happened. We want to let Kenny is in the comments. Let us know. BCM traded Luke Hatmaker for Dennis Schroeder and a second-round pick, and we plan on moving Dennis Schroeder immediately. That guy, he might as well just live in a rental truck. But yeah, what were your thoughts on how the game started and what it looked like kind of get going last night?
I'm not gonna lie to you. That game was on my TV. The Jimmy Butler, we're gonna get to it. Jimmy Butler trade drop. So did I really pay attention to the game during the first half? Not at all. Mainly because the first quarter I was helping my wife cook, and then the Jimmy Butler trade dropped somewhere in the first quarter, sometime the second quarter. Then the second half I locked in, and basically I saw all the good parts. I didn't see.
Yeah,
I was hearing it. I was looking up at the score, but was I really locked in and knowing what was going on? No. So I'm not gonna lie to you. Hey, I can know exactly what went on in the first half, but I did see the Grizzlies gave up 59 points. So I figured defensively, it seemed like Toronto was getting wherever they wanted. I did see Taylor Jenkins go play 11 guys, but he stopped at 11. I did my over-under at 12 and a half. So shout out to him for stopping at 11. Because a lot of people took the over on it. So
yeah,
hey, it is what it is. I figured they were sleepwalking, but I figured they could turn his own, and that's exactly what they did as soon as third quarter hit. Especially Ja and Jaren. Shout out to Ja and Jaren, man. Like we're finally seeing, because even early in their career, it was like we never saw them go good. We never saw them be great at the same time. And now for the last 2 games, we've seen it. And hey, it's been a pleasure to watch, especially seeing the new Jaren. We got a dynamic 1-2 combo right there, and you add in Desmond Bane, who's been playing great lately too. Hey,
and you got Gigi starting to come up. Gigi starting to find his way. This team is getting hot at the right time.
Vince looked like himself last night in his first game.
He just created chaos. He only played 13 minutes, but it was 13 minutes of chaos. He was in passing lanes. He had 2 really big steals, 4 points. Like, the shots will come, but we need him to come in and be that. I compared him the other day on the 2 Buck Sports show. He's like that JaMychal Green that just comes in and plugs in and is just high energy hustle guy. And that's what he did last night. He didn't play a lot, but he played big minutes for us in his 13. So you're right. The first half was ugly. He didn't miss a whole lot. We only scored 22 points in the first quarter, including none over the final 3.5 minutes of the first quarter. But the moment it kind of turned was in the third quarter. Ja hit a 3 at the 6:55 mark. We went down, got a stop, came back. He hit another 3 around 6:38, forcing Toronto to take a timeout. And that's kind of when we quit playing with our food. And Ja and Jaren kind of took over from there, and the rest was history. That's when we really opened it up. It was actually, I think it was like our 11th time to be down double digits and come back and win a game this year. So, for all the talk about how this team is struggling and, we get behind and we typically lose, that's a pretty good stat to be down double digits and come back and win.
Yeah. And, it's so crazy. And I was one of the people who didn't think the sky was falling after the New York game. Everybody else did. And the Grizzlies, that was the only loss they've had in their last 11 games. Just let's think about that. We're so frustrated with the team out of losing one game out of 11. They won 10 out of 11 games. It's so funny. Like,
because we came into that Knicks game beating up on bad teams. We played a good team and got embarrassed. But for me, it looks like that Knicks game is serving as a catalyst because Ja has been different. Now, he missed 2 games because of injury, but he's been different.
He's not complaining.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him, and he's not complaining, and his shot is falling, right? Because that's why I say after the Knicks game, I was like, well, y'all talking about screens. I'm like, Ja Morant going to the line, going to go, complaining, and not getting back on defense. That's what I saw. And I saw him not taking jumpers.
Yeah.
I seen him taking jumpers. I seen him not complaining. There you go.
That's it. Edward, shout out Edward here in the comments. He's right. Fan is short for fanatic for a reason.
Fanatics.
And we certainly have our highs and we certainly have our lows. And so, and Drew's right.
Like, Titans fan, I know.
Yeah. That Knicks game was abhorrent. Like, that was an embarrassing loss. Like, one of the most embarrassing losses I've watched in a long time for this team. And so there were some things to be frustrated about. But it served for the catalyst. Ja has been better. Jaren has only, gone 3 in a row, scoring 30 plus. He's now scored 20 plus in 9 straight games. Jaren has been playing, in my opinion, his way onto the second team All NBA. I mean, Jaren has been absolutely different this year.
You hold him short. I said first team.
I mean, I hope so. He belongs in the first team. I don't know that he'll get there with some of the names that are around him, but Jaren is playing like, especially Parrish, like, people want to bash on me for his rebounding, and I don't want to do that. But if he was averaging like 8 to 10 rebounds a game, we'd be talking like MVP caliber season, just at the way he's been playing. And, stop me if you've heard this before, but last night, the Raptors had no answer for Jaren in the post, in the mid-range, on the perimeter. Like, we played yet another team who had absolutely nothing for Jaren Jackson Jr. last night, and he just basically had his way. Gigi's looking super athletic, getting to the rim. What do you like about what Gigi's doing so far?
He's playing his game, and he's playing it within the flow of the offense now. Like, he's playing it with Ja Morant, especially with him on the court with Ja. I'd love to see it. But he's looking like he was last season, but now with a team that's winning and coming out the bench. Like last year, well, he did out the bench some last year, but then he became a starter, and it was pretty much his team. So now you're seeing some of the same stuff he was doing last year within the flow of offense with Jaren Jackson and Ja Morant going off as well. So, man, Gigi is looking like how we thought he would look.
Exactly.
When you think about it, because he missed up pretty much the entire season. He came back. He struggled with his shot for the first 7 games. That was expected, right?
Yeah.
It was all expected for him to get his foot, get back in rhythm, and get used to this role. Like, he didn't play this role last year. So he had to get used to playing this new role as well while working his way back into a rhythm. So now he's showing what we thought he would be. So the sky's the limit. That's all I saw from last night.
I mean, that's it, man. Defensively, offensively, he's a bucket getter. He plays hard. He hustles. Like, there is really going to be, like, we're going to start having some conversations where should we be starting Ja, Jalen, Gigi, Jaren, and Edie because the way that they're playing. But I personally like Gigi in this role where he comes off the bench. He's that offensive spark. He's that bucket getter for the second unit. Because not too many teams have a guy like Gigi that's that big, that athletic, that can come off the bench and just immediately be an offensive threat. And that's where Gigi's role is going to be going forward, I think.
Yeah, I agree, especially this season. I'm the type, when those conversations happen about the future, I let everybody have that. I don't even say nothing during the conversations because I'm trying to win championship this year. I'm not worried about you do need to worry. I understand worrying about the future. I understand contracts, all of that, but we're in championship contention right now. Why am I thinking 2 years ahead? Oh, let's bring Desmond Bane off the bench. Now, what about right now? Desmond Bane coming off the bench right now. Let's
right now, it's Gigi coming off the bench with the green light. Attack, and that's where Wayne, you're absolutely right. That's where we need to be right now.
Yeah, it's it like I said, it's fan. I understand it's fans, fanatics. Like even Drew said earlier, fans are gonna overreact to the Knicks loss. I've always been the person who never overreact to an 82 game season. The Grizzlies hadn't got blown out like that all season. So my thing was beat Houston all as well. They did that and all was well, right?
All was well. So we won 4 in a row now.
Right. Because it's not like I always because even after this game, I did the post-game bounce. And I always compared to the NFL. Like when the Titans lose, I'm more of a fanatic doing that because I'm like, dang, bro, we got a whole week to the next game. In the NBA, you lose, you might have the game the next night or 2 nights. You got time to wipe it away very quickly. Like in the NFL, you like, dang, you got to wait a whole 7 days, 8 days if you got to buy 2 weeks to get over there.
Yeah, that's true. You sit and you fester on it. But hey, we've got a palate cleanser coming up on Saturday. Edward's asking you going. I'm gonna be at the game Saturday. You going Saturday for the OKC game?
I'll be there. I heard from Little Birdie that y'all the other three from the show, you, Drew, and Luke might be.
There's a chance. We're just waiting on Luke to confirm, but Drew and I for sure will be there, man. We'll all be in the building watching the game Saturday. You know, we've still got a couple days. We got a lot more to get to today, but any thoughts on the Oklahoma City game coming up? Like first thoughts on what it should look like Saturday?
Oh, it's a huge game, but honestly, because of the trade deadline today, it's kind of hard to even think about it until we know what happens today. That's the hard part. It's like it's a huge game regardless. Whether we keep the same roster, whether we make a trade. But until the trade happens, we need to ensure whoever we trade, if we do make a trade, if it's a bigger trade, that player's ready to play Saturday.
Yeah.
For the game.
Yeah.
But if they keep the roster, we're set. Because I think Desmond Bane, they said on the broadcast last night, I think Desmond Bane is looking to be back Saturday. That happens. It's the first game we have our fully healthy roster, if it happens.
Yeah, right now he's the only one on the injury reserve. I did a 2 cents about his injury. I think what it ended up being is like a grade 1 rear foot sprain, because if he's going to be able to come back Saturday, then it's not that bad. And it may have just been, I don't even know if it was fully a sprain, if they just label it as a sprain. But if he's back Saturday and we're full strength, be the first time since 2021, and look out Oklahoma City. Like we're going to be like, we're coming for blood because it's a revenge game, right? Like we're going to get to all the trades in a second, but they embarrassed us last time we played them. We were less than half string.
I mean,
so it's hard time to go get some blood back.
Had 9 folks out. But man, did you see SGA last night? Another 50.
Yeah. How many free throws did he have last night though? That's my question. Cause he is the most unethical hooper. He had 50 points. He only had 12. He had 12 free throws last night. So that's not bad for an SGA game. But a 50 burger, that was huge, man. Huge.
That's his third one in like 5 games or something. Yeah.
We're ready. He don't play.
We ready.
Yeah. He don't play a lick of defense, but he'll put 50 on you in a heartbeat.
Boy.
All right. So speaking of, we've danced around it long enough. We have had a massive trade deadline already, including Parrish's favorite player in the NBA, or one of his favorite players. His jersey hangs back up there behind him.
Not anymore. That was my old house.
Gotcha.
So that's like I took a picture of it before we moved to the new house. But the jersey is in the closet. So he is my favorite player. So
there you go. Well, he got moved yesterday. The Miami Heat traded Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors. We'll kind of break it down. We get to Jimmy. I want to hear your thoughts. But first off, the Heat get back one Kyle Slow-Mo Anderson. There was some kind of drama, like he was going to Toronto, then that fell through. Right. And right now he's currently with the Heat, but they're still trying to sort out. Very likely he gets moved again. But they get PJ Tucker, Andrew Wiggins, and a single first-round pick from Golden State this draft. Any thoughts about Miami's haul here?
Not bad. I mean, that was about the best they were probably going to do. I think it's good change of scenery for Andrew Wiggins. He's still young enough to fit in their core with he fits right in at Jimmy Butler, small forward. Tyler Hero's having a career year. Bam is still, he's not had his great of year, but he's still, we know what Bam is capable of.
Right.
Khalil Ware is coming on. So they look promising. They need to settle that Terry Rozier situation.
Quick.
But getting PJ Tucker back, you got him and Kevin Love, veterans. So they're the new Udonis Haslam tandem.
Yep.
And if they were to keep Slow-Mo cool, get rid of them. The Heat are pretty straight. I think they develop their young talent, like the Grizzlies. They are young. They develop, right? And Jovic, however you pronounce his name, Khalil Ware. They got those guys that kind of that's freaky and second-year players.
I like it for Miami because, like you said, these are vets, right? If Slow-Mo stays, he's a vet, been on playoff teams. PJ Tucker's been around the league. He's kind of an enforcer. He's a good seasoned vet. And then Andrew Wiggins can still hoop, and he's still young enough that he could turn it around. And he's a perennial all-star. Even if he's not great, he still gets voted in the all-star game every year. But it's a good change of scenery for him. Now, Jimmy Butler's fit on the Golden State Warriors. My favorite thing I saw yesterday, and I'll turn it loose for you, man, because it's your boy, but like Draymond Green finally has somebody that's going to punch him back.
Yes.
So I'm ready for that first spot on the sideline. Them two get into it, and Jimmy Butler just hit Draymond like he hit Jordan Poole.
Right. Yeah, yep. So my wife is a Golden State fan, right? And as soon as I told the trade happened, she looked right at me. I was like, see, so here go the deal. Jimmy is my favorite player. Grizzlies are my favorite team. And it's my home city. I'm choosing Memphis, right? So first thing I told was like, see y'all in the playoffs, right?
That's it.
But you like, you
this
always
makes him a
switching up.
playoff team.
Yeah, I was like, how am I switching up? Because if I see Jimmy Butler against the Grizzlies in the playoffs, especially after what he said, where reports came out saying he didn't want to come to Memphis, I want to destroy that man.
Absolutely, I want him in the plaplayoffs. Let's go,
man. I want that matchup. Yeah, that's cool. Let's go. But he's still my guy. I ain't gonna deny that. But hey, it is what it is. I'm Memphis all the way down. But what it means for Golden State, I do think. I do think it makes them better. I mean, you can't deny it's Jimmy Butler, right? It's his talent. Now I would say shooting wise, Jimmy Butler ain't the greatest of shooters. Draymond, it kind of hurts them in that department some, but you still got the greatest shooter all the time in the backcourt. You still got Buddy Hield. They got shooters to surround them, right? And like you were saying earlier, my first thought, man, Jimmy and Draymond, how that's gonna work? Well, that's good because Draymond has never had somebody that's gonna battle him, right? He can just do what he wants and blah blah blah. Jimmy Butler ain't going for that, right? Also, and Wayno's right. They're going to play. They're going to adjust their style some. But I think they'll be able to make it work. Now, would they make it work to be like a championship contender team? No, I think it just makes them relevant. Gets them potentially in the playoffs or definitely in a play-in because right now they're like 10. So I get them move up a couple spots and get an easier play-in, probably a home play-in game. If not, maybe even sneak into the 6th seed. But I don't think it makes them a championship contender team, but it gets them at least in the door to be able to get in the playoffs. And with the veteran experience, championship experience, Jimmy Butler's playoff Jimmy, you get that in playoffs, they got a shot to make some noise in the playoffs. And also, I saw Kenny say it too, and that was the first thing I said when the trade went down on Twitter. They kept Jonathan Kuminga. That was huge to me. I thought that's how I was like, oh, that was a good trade for him because I'm like, they didn't have to get rid of Kuminga. So that was really good.
And they talked about it a little bit, getting rid of him, but it's a smart move. He's a young big. He's got potential. I think there's a lot of potential in that kid. But you're right. All you got to do is get in the door because Jimmy can drag a sorry Miami team to the finals, and now he's got some guys around him with some championship pedigree and some talent. Kuminga being one of them, but obviously Draymond and Steph and some other guys there. So this team is primed for a playoff run. And like you said, I don't know that it makes them a championship team. But you can never, I would never, ever, ever bet against Jimmy Butler in the playoffs because playoff Jimmy is a real thing. He turns it on. It's a different style of basketball. He's a bit more aggressive and has a bit more of an edge. But I mean, they kind of strapped themselves, man. It's 3 years,
2 years, 121. Yeah, he got it what he wanted.
He did. Because I originally saw that the market was going to be around the $35 million mark, like neighborhood for him for his next contract. But he got, I mean, $60 million a year for a 35-year-old player. I mean, I get it, but like that's a big contract for somebody 35 years old. But we'll see. I think it's a good trade for them. And on the back end of that, they moved Josh Richardson, and Lindy Waters was the other one that got moved. Richardson from the Heat go to the Pistons. Lindy Waters from the Warriors goes to the Pistons. And then speaking of Warrior moves, Dennis Schroeder is sent to the Utah Jazz just after he posted this big emotional thing about his son saying we're going to a winner, and he was in Golden State for about a month, and now he is in the Utah organization. Any thoughts about obviously thoughts and prayers to Dennis Schroeder's kid for they're not on a winning team anymore, son.
Yeah, him comparing it to slavery is it's kind of the irony just happens after he says it, right?
Exactly.
He goes to Utah, him and Colin Sexton. I think that's gonna be if he plays. I do want to see him and Colin Sexton, kind of like Jimmy and Draymond. Him and Colin Sexton. That was the two. We've seen Colin Sexton. The rookie. What's the rookie name they have? That whole 8-second violation.
And he was like having a meltdown on that. Filipowski. Was it Filipowski? Yeah,
it was the guard. It was the guard. The guard from Baylor. It's gonna come to my mind. Yeah. All right, man. We can move.
Anyway, it'll come up. But that is going to be a cauldron.
Isaiah Collier.
That's it, Collier. It's going to be fun to watch those guys with that attitude and that edge. I mean, they're both competitors, and so again, it's the Jimmy Butler Draymond situation. Like, who's going to throw the first punch? But a couple other trades last night. We had the New Orleans Pelicans sending Brandon Ingram, BI, to the Toronto Raptors. That was a name that was tossed around for Memphis. Personally, I didn't think it was the best fit, but I'm glad that BI got to go to Toronto and get out of New Orleans where he's been buried recently. So thankfully he wasn't there last night as well. We didn't have to play him last night, but BI is now heading north of the border. Any thoughts on the BI move?
Not really. I ain't gonna lie. There was two bad teams. I think that was my first thought. I think Toronto's future. I guess we'll see how he fits because has BI ever really been a winner? I think he made playoffs a couple times in New Orleans, but wasn't play in really. Lost in their playoff series.
Yep.
But also New Orleans never been healthy in his time frame, so it's kind of hard to tell. His career is looking very Rudy Gay-ish, where it's like you're a good player, but you never win it. Like it's like
exactly.
Or if you win, like with the Grizzlies, you had the teams around you. It's just kind of I don't know. And him and Scotty Barnes, I guess Scotty Barnes to go to the 4. After I saw what Jaron did to him last night, do we really need to go to the 4?
No, I don't think so.
He need to stay to 3.
He had Scotty Barnes in hell last night. He had Scotty Barnes in hell last night. Poor guy.
Right. But they still do got RJ Barry, Manuel quickly. I think he's been out most of this year. So, I mean, they got talent. It just, I guess we'll see. I know the rest of this year is pretty much over with for him. And as for New Orleans, I guess we got to where New Orleans. Didn't New Orleans get Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk?
I think that's who they got in return. Yeah. I mean,
and they're bottom of the West team now, so it's I don't know. Yeah.
You hate to see it, but one that also directly impacts the Memphis Grizzlies is another cherry pick trade. I feel like for the Lakers, they essentially swapped. They got Mark Williams back for Dalton Connect and a bag of Sour Patch Kids. Like it feels like the Lakers can kind of do whatever they want on the trade market right now. And I think Mark Williams is a good fit in LA. He's big. He's athletic. He fits kind of the game that Luka plays because he's in that like Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford kind of mold, like a smaller, more athletic, vertical big. I think this is a good fit for the Lakers. And all of a sudden, the Lakers, as much as we made fun of them, like, they traded off their own only post player in Anthony Davis. Now they got Mark Williams, and this makes them sneaky good.
Yeah. I'd like to trade for him. I will say my guy did like hit me in the group text this morning. It was like Mark Williams has missed 130 games in the last 2.5 years. So
a lot.
Yeah, upon health, yes, it's a good trade. Let's see if you stay healthy. That's a lot of games to miss in 2 years. Like,
it's only, that's some Grizzly level stuff.
That's 164. So it's 160. 82 game season is 164, and it's 2.5. Give him another 41. He's missed 130 games out of probably 200. That's
a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot, but as long as he plays, it's a good fit. They just need to
agree. That's some Memphis Grizzly type missing right there. But if he plays, he makes the Lakers a lot better, like you said, for sure.
And helps their future because he's 23, Luka's 25. That's it. After LeBron retired, that's it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Mark Williams is 23, he's young, so he can get kind of like. I mean, Jaren had injury troubles. He didn't have quite that bad, but he had injury troubles early in his career. He's turned it around. Not that I want that for Mark Williams and the Lakers, but. And it could certainly happen. So we've talked about the heavy hitters. Parrish, today is the day. The trade deadline ends today at 3 p.m. Eastern. Everything has to be in. I saw a question here earlier. We've talked about Portland's been talked about a lot with Jeremy Grant. Like, I don't know if he's going to get moved or they're going to try to move him off of Klingon.
They've won 9 their last 10.
They're doing a terrible job of tanking.
I don't think they're taking them over. Scoop Henderson. It's on the rise.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? You see anything coming this today? What are any predictions talking about the Grizzlies? Any other big names you think are going to get moved? What are your thoughts about the trade deadline today?
The big names got traded ahead of the deadline. So it's only one. I mean, Cam Johnson is the biggest name, and the Grizzlies are linked to him. So I think that's the only thing left because Brandon Ingram got traded. But Jimmy got traded. The random Luka, Anthony Davis trade. That's happening.
KD's not getting traded.
Yeah, KD not getting traded. Last night, I was thinking the Lakers needed a big man. Then they proceeded to trade for a big man right after I had that thought. Literally, I thought about that at like 11:10, and they made the trade at 11:15. So, literally, that's so funny. I was like, wow, I literally just saying the Lakers need to get the big man.
Over here.
Right. I was like, yeah. So that was what I was thinking today. I was like, I expect the Lakers to try and make a trade. They lost on Jonas. I know with big man, but I thought they'd make some type of trade. Then, like I said, it's left on Cam Johnson if he does actually get traded. And if he does get traded, is it Memphis? Is that tweet that guy said about Milwaukee and Marcus Smart and that? He gotten us riled up. He got us excited again. So hopefully,
it's that Evan. It's that Evan Sidery all over again, or however you say his name, right? Like he's tweeting all that stuff, getting us all hyped about DFS, and then it falls through at the last minute, right? So For those who haven't seen, it looks like there is a thread where Sean Wright of the NBA is Sean Wright NBA. I don't know if he's legit. If he's legit, let us know here in the comments. He has been right about a few things.
I was about to say that. I looked at his tweets. He was right about something.
He was right about the Lakers. He's been right about a couple of things, which gives me some hope. But he reported late last night that the Grizzlies and Milwaukee are in a conversation. He also projected Jericho Sims to the Bucks. That was the other one that he called right before it happened. But they've been in discussion that would send Marcus Smart to Milwaukee in exchange for Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, Beauchamp, and draft compensation. He said Memphis has interest in rerouting contracts and draft compensation to a third team, currently focused on adding their own draft picks for Cam Johnson. So if this is to be believed, we're in the hunt for Cam Johnson. I know there was some fallout with us in the Nets after the DFS trade, but do you think? I was about to say this. There ain't nothing that Marcus Smart and Cam Johnson can't overcome, right?
Right. Man, you can overcome that. Like it's business, man. Stuff happens, man. Stuff happens.
You can't take it personal, but like, do you think this is something? I mean, I think it's obviously something that could happen. Is this something that you would want to happen? Maybe if we could keep if it's Connaughton and BP alongside Cam Johnson, is that something you think the Grizzlies should do if given the opportunity?
Yep, I think so. I got to think about the Grizzlies and it's a hub. Like me, I've always been fine. If they keep the rosters intact, they're healthy. Like everybody's healthy now. We probably are a championship contender team. Because I'm getting tired of the whole big three thing. If we truly have a big three, we should be a championship contenders regardless.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
But I get tired of getting us hyped up. Like, oh, we can add Cam Johnson. I'll snap. Because if that trade don't go down, although I know I'm happy with the team we got, I'm still gonna get that down because now I've gotten like with the Jimmy Butler stuff, I got invested. Like I was trying not to get invested, but I got invested. DFS, I got invested, right? Cam Johnson, I'm invested. Like it's like stop doing it to me.
That's where I'm at. Like
it make you feel bad about the team you got when you know you got a championship contending team anyway.
I was thinking about this yesterday, Parrish. Like all summer long, I was beating the drum of don't make a trade, let's run it out and see what we got. Right. And I saw what we had. And I thought it's still good, but like health has still been the biggest issue. Yeah. Health has been the biggest issue, not performance, because look what's happening now that we're all healthy. We beat the Rockets. We blew out the Raptors last night after playing around. If we go like just stomp OKC on Saturday, like it could absolutely change the whole trajectory of this season in the eyes of the fans. But the problem is if you hop on Grizzleverse, you'll see that it's going to be ugly if we don't trade for somebody. Like the fans, like the villagers are unruly right now, wanting some trade. Like it didn't matter if we traded for like whoever, they just want to move. I think there's going to be some consolidation trades. We always tend to do some salary dumps or little small fringe moves at the deadline, but we haven't made a huge splash trade at the deadline in quite some time. We got Luke Kennard at the deadline a few years ago. We were talking about in the green room. We don't tend to make those trades. So personally, for me,
trading Marcus All the trade deadline, that was a splash. That was a splash for Toronto. Yeah.
For me personally, I see it being more of a consolidation trade deadline. I think that Cam Johnson, if he doesn't get moved now, can be got cheaper in the summer.
Offseason, yeah.
Because right now the price is the highest it's going to be. The market is super hot for Cam Johnson. So if we don't get him today, fear not, Grizz fans. There's still hope we can get him, and he don't go nowhere else. There's still hope we can get him in the offseason at a much better price. And so I'm trying not to get too overly excited, though I did dream last night, literally, because I kept waking up checking my phone. I didn't sleep super well. One of my dreams was we got Cam Johnson, and he was like in a Grizzlies uniform. That was in my mind last night. So I hope that happens, but I'm trying to like be a realist to where if Kleiman comes out tomorrow and says that our trade deadline acquisitions are, Marcus, Gigi, and Vince, I'm trying to prepare myself for that because that's still not a bad haul at the trade deadline to get those guys back.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Grizzlies are in a great position. It's just if you don't make a deal, you're fine, right? If you make a deal, even to consolidate some, you're fine. If you make a splash, you're fine as long as you ain't trading certain people.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's a great position to be in. They're fine either way. I think just in the fan base eyes, if they don't make a deal, especially after all these other deals. Because like I was telling my wife this last night, I was like, the fans get mad when teams who are like 10th and 7th in the West make a deal, and we're 2. And they're like, bro, what we doing? I'm like,
yeah,
we're number 2.
Every single trade.
Boston ain't made a deal. Cleveland ain't made a deal. I'm saying all the top teams, Houston, everybody, all the top teams have made no deals because guess what?
They're good
at the top.
Yeah, Oklahoma City, all they're doing is stockpiling draft picks. They've got like 38 draft picks over the next 2 drafts. It's ridiculous what all they've got.
It's crazy.
But the fans yesterday, every trade that came through, they'd be like, "See, Kleiman, you didn't make this trade." And it's like, bro, we don't even need we don't need that player. Like, what's he going to do for us, right? Like, people want a transaction. That's it. Like, they just want transaction porn. They just want to trade to make a trade, like, for it's a trade's sake. Like, give me somebody that's going to help. I don't want to, like, DeMichael Cole said it best yesterday. Like, if there's not a guy out there that's going to make you immediately better, don't do it. Don't make a trade just to make a trade because that can mess up team chemistry. Now, I do think we need to get rid of some of Taylor Jenkins' toys. We've got Luke. We've got Jake on expiring deals. Santi's expiring. We got guys that we got to make some decisions about. Of all of those guys, Parrish, you think about Luke and Marcus, obviously seems like the most likely candidate, so we'll leave him out. But Luke, Jake, Santi, Jitty, which one of those do you think gets moved today?
Jake. I think because I could see them, they want to try and keep Santi. So unless, and I think for Cam Johnson, they probably ain't get rid of Santi unless he replaces the first round pick, right? If you get Santi, you're not getting the first round pick. That's how I viewed it.
That's fair. Yeah.
So unless that happens, but I think Santi, will try to keep Santi. Luke's 3-point shooting still is just that's just something about there, right? And even though he's a free agent, I can see them trying to find a way to bring him back. Yeah. You know, with the market So, but Jake LaRavia, I don't see a scenario where he comes back, especially the way Gigi has returned and the way Gigi is looking, and now Vince is back. He's the one. He's the odd man now. But shout in either way, whatever happens, shout out to Jake for proving he's an NBA player. His first year and a half, I was like, I don't know if he's an NBA player. Last half of last season, summer league, and this season, he's proved he will be in the NBA. Whether it's with Grizzlies or not, he's going to be somewhere and probably in the rotation somewhere. I think he's a solid rotation player.
I think he is. I just don't think there's any minutes on this team for him. And so go to Sacramento, go to Utah, go somewhere where they can like build and are trying to develop, and maybe he can find some minutes there. But you're right, you nailed it. With Vince and Gigi coming back, there's just no minutes for him. And if you can turn him into a second-round pick, then you absolutely do it. Luke seems to like being in Memphis. There's, he brought his child home in a Memphis Grizzlies onesie from the hospital. Like he seems to like being in Memphis. So like of the guys, I think Luke and Santi both would very likely re-sign in Memphis this offseason. And I'm fine with it. Like you said, if Luke continues to shoot at a high pace like he has been recently, then we can use him in the playoff rotation. But what we can't have is Luke going out there and shooting 2, maybe 3 threes. Like at that point, you're not going to play, man, because like we had Ja Kennard last night. Ja was making threes left and right. And if you're not going to shoot, there's not a place for him in this playoff roster, right?
Exactly. So, yeah, I think but like I said, I think we're good.
Yeah. We're fine. Like Ja once said, we're fine in the West. We are fine without a trade.
I ain't gonna say fine in the West, but fine without a trade. I like that one.
Fine without a trade. That's what I'm getting at. We ain't fine in the West. We still got an Oklahoma City problem. We passed Houston.
Oklahoma City ain't fine in the West. Ain't nobody fine in the West. Let's keep it a book.
Especially with so many guys. Like you guys can, like I want just one of these superstars to go to the Eastern Conference. Just one. Yeah. But they all come to the Western Conference. It just continues to get worse. Maybe then we'll just shift to the Eastern Conference and expansion in a couple of years. But that's going to do it for our show today. Thanks for hanging out with us in the comments. We had a bunch of folks: Mark, Edward, King Meeks, Wayno, Kenny. There's so many faces here. Thank y'all for talking trades. Grizzlies win. Listen, remember, we got a good win last night. So even if the Grizzlies don't make a trade, they gave you a good win over Toronto last night to kind of soothe any wounds that you may feel. And we're going to get another one on Saturday, I got a feeling. So, again, thank you, Parrish, for being here, brother. Thanks for hanging with me this morning. Thanks again to everybody in the comments, watching on YouTube and Twitter. Remember to be a friend to somebody who needs a friend, and we'll see y'all back here tomorrow. Go Grizz.